Life in colonial America was largely different from England's. It was largely based on agriculture, and the only way you could make money was by planting crops or by having a small business. The geography and land was far superior to England's because it was good for planting crops, making ports, and plantations.
So rocky.
Land ho!
We found land, boy!
My tobacco is a great source of income. It brings easy money to my family.
My family and I have realized that tobacco is too common, so now we're growing rice for it even bigger.
We'll land to share, so me and my family established a shop in the town. There we can trade and sell our goods.
I'm a very busy farmer. I need help on my fields, so I hired slaves or bought slaves so I could have help with the farm. Since I have help with the farm, I can have more production, which gives me a bigger profit. Come back!
No.
Here in New York, I grow wheat. This is grown in large quantities, so it is considered a cash crop. Cash crops are easily sold in the market overseas and in the colonies.
Can I trade my fishing rod for your writing utensils? Sure. Good trade, my friend. Philadelphia was very busy because of ports. The ports had boats coming in and out with goods and crops. By 1760, Philadelphia is now the largest city with 19,000 people.
Here in New Jersey, industries make up most of the income. Lumber mills, mines, ironworks, and manufacturing goods were the larger businesses. Also, smaller home-based crafts such as carpentry and flour were included in making profits.
New England was really hard to farm because the soil was very bad in the cold climates. The big industries were the lumber, and which built ships, which meant more trading, which meant ports in New England colonies.
The triangular trade was a multiple ship route that transported boats with slaves and goods from England, Great Britain, Africa, and North America.
Middle Passage is a stage where millions of African Americans were traded back and forth. The demand for cash crops only increased the need for slaves. This was because everywhere cash crops were needed to be grown, tended to, and harvested faster so they could be traded, and that also means more workers were needed. Many cash crops were sold on a triangular trade. Examples include sugar, cotton, tobacco, and rum. Also, manufactured goods were produced and traded on the triangular trade by factories. Epidemics are large outbreaks of illnesses that can kill many people. In 1720 in Boston, there was an outbreak of smallpox that killed 850 people.
Sir, but you're going to die with your health condition. I'm sorry, sir. Rest in peace. 30s and 40s was a time of strong religious influence in colonial life. New England colonies called it the New Birth. The movement led to the formation of new churches. This time also united the North and South in common experience. The colonists overcame regional barriers and helped prove the way to spread of new ideas and excitement for independence.
By the middle of the 1700s, many educated colonists were also influenced by the Enlightenment. The movement, which began in Europe, spread the idea that knowledge, reason, and science could improve society. The colonists increased interest in science. They observed nature and staged experiments. This movement promoted freedom of thought, expression, belief in equality, and the idea of popular government.
The skies are gray, so I'm predicting rain. I'm doing an experiment. If I hit Woodson in the leg, he'll have a bruise the next day. Today is the day after I hit Woodson in the leg. Now he has a bruise.
Freedom of press became a very important issue in colonial America. The colonists expressed their own ideas through newspaper and voice. These events led to government censorship.
Freedom of speech!
Papers, get your extras. Government isn't allowing free speech. Papers, extra, government freedom. Ah!
You're coming with me.
Why?
Now. I am a German newspaper writer that was arrested and put on trial because of the articles I wrote about the government. They brought of it as censorship. Luckily, my trial was proven innocent.
You're under arrest for the articles about the government.
Magna Carta, what was that document?
Magna Carta was a document created in 1215 by King John. The purpose of this document was to provide peace throughout England because it provided justice to cruel and unjust laws. Even the king and queen were bounded by this document.
So the government provided this document for peace. What was the government exactly?
Our government was a representative government, but took the form of parliament, which parliament was more powerful than the government.
Besides the Magna Carta, another big document was the Bill of Rights. Could you please go into that for us?
The English Bill of Rights was a document made to set a clear restrictions on a ruler's power during conflict between the king and parliament. It was established in 1689. The writing stated that the ruler could not set back the parliament's laws, impose taxes, or raise an army without the parliament's consent. The document made a fair set of laws throughout England.
Thank you for coming in, and
Thank you. I'll come back soon. Thank you.
thank you for coming in today. We'll see you next time. And now we're going to travel across seas to Mr. Smith. Sake across seas. And today I have Professor Smith here in Colonial America. And he is an expert on this time. So what do you have to say about colonies?
There are 13 colonies, and each are uniquely different. The laws, religion, trade, and industries all are similar, yet opposites. Each colony is run by a government of choice. The people running the government give people rights, unlike England, so all colonists are satisfied with the area.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the trading in Colonial America?
Well, the king takes all our raw materials, then manufactures them in England, and then trades them back to Indians and other people to make an even bigger profit. We get the shorter end of that stick.
Go.
So I have heard about navigation acts, but never really able to get into detail of them. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
The colonists first accepted navigation acts because laws guaranteed them a place to sell raw materials. Later, the colonists came to resent English restrictions. With their population growing, colonists wanted to manufacture their own goods rather than import them to England.
Can you tell us if the colonists liked the navigation acts at all, or if they didn't, how they avoid them?
Well, the colonists didn't like the navigation acts because they were not profiting from their raw materials giving them to England. The colonists kept some of the goods without government permission to get more profits for them instead of England.
Life. France and England competed for wealth and power in Europe, and now competing for land in the New World. The Ohio River Valley was a place of many resources, which is why both wanted. The French trade fair with the Native Americans. This means they are already allied forces, not good for the British. I trade first.
Let's go to the sea!
We had built both forts in the Ohio River Valley to protect our interests. We still had a chain of forts between Ontario River to Ohio.
The Virginia governor recently sent a militia to drive out the French. The French built Fort Yukon, and George Washington built Fort Necessity close to each other. Then in 1745 they were defeated by the French.
The natives did not trust the British because of their land interest. Most Native Americans called allied with the French because they were already close trade partners. Soon they both raided our colonies in the Ohio River Valley. The British tried and failed to make alliances with the Iroquois Confederacy, but they promised to only stay neutral. Benjamin Franklin proposed the Albany Plan of Union.
The Albany Plan of Union was when colonies would unify in order to protect themselves against the French.
As I was saying, no colonies would agree because they did not want to give up their individual power. While this plan was being discussed, the war was at its peak.
The French, of course, enjoyed the beginning of the war because of their success. The French and Indians would carry out raids along the frontier, but in 1757, William Pitt became Prime Minister and turned the whole war around.
Live here in Quebec, William Pitt sent troops to fight in North America. Pitt's main goal was to capture French Canada. Eventually, the British defeated the French when capturing Quebec and Montreal. British now winning the war.
Finally, here in 1763, we are witnessing the signing of the Treaty of Paris, signaling the end of the war.
Here we are, the signing of the Treaty in Paris.
All in favor say yay.
Yay!
All opposed say nay.
There you go, folks. The Treaty of Paris is signed and sealed.
We're having a short but interesting video with the Prime Minister of England, William Pitt.
Hi guys.
Can you tell us why you chose those two cities to attack?
Well, since the two cities were the largest and most powerful areas for the French, it was the best and easiest way to kill their power and take their territory.
And how were you expecting to solve the problem of money, because all of your money was towards transportation and weaponry?
Well, to be honest, that was a thought we did think about until it came knocking at our doorstep. So when it did come, we held a meeting. The board and I decided on raising the prices on our goods and not paying the Indians for land use. This took care of our debt in a couple of months.
What did the natives think about not getting paid?
Well, the natives did not like the idea. In fact, they began raiding frontier posts, which is now known as the Pontiac's War. So the king and parliament had to sign the Proclamation of 1763, which to forbid colonists moving west of the Appalachian Mountains. They gave natives their space.
And the colonists' thoughts?
Well, they resented and kept moving west, aggravating the natives. So we sent over 10,000 forces of British troops to enforce our policies. Of course, this upset them because it took away most of their freedom and too much government control.
And that led us up to today. Thank you for your honesty and time.
Yes!
Oh, just restate it.